Hi, my name is Ian Johnson and I am the golf course superintendent here at Lake Valley Golf Club. Each year I am asked numerous questions about some of the maintenance practices we perform on the course. We have decided to do a series of videos that will hopefully help answer these questions. This will be a continuous series of videos that hopefully show you the procedures and practices we use to help maintain the golf course at its best. We will start the series with one of the most questioned practices we perform, and that is aeration.
It's that time of year again when the weather feels perfect and the course is ready for a great round of golf when you hear the words, "the greens are being aerified today." The word aeration alone stimulates negative emotions for most golfers, but you may be surprised to hear that it is also a difficult time of year for me as well. Aeration requires a large amount of time and labor to complete, and it disrupts the nice smooth surface that we work so hard at throughout the season to perfect. Aeration is an essential program to keep the playing surface healthy and in good condition during the various seasons. Aeration is performed for multiple reasons. It is done to control organic matter below the surface like decaying roots and grass stems, to relieve soil compaction, to stimulate root growth, and to improve the drainage to the soil structure.
Each day, as I do a tour around the golf course, I take core samples on the greens, the tees, approaches, and fairways to determine how much moisture, root growth, and any pertinent information it may show me. I start out by taking a core sample. I pay attention to the amount of moisture, the amount of roots, and anything pertinent up above in the root structure and within the grass plant if there's anything needed. Prior to aeration, I take a larger soil sample to determine what we need to adjust and anything we need to change. As you'll see in this profile, we have the grass on the top, an organic mat layer next, followed by a sandy soil mix, and finally a clay and rock composition at the bottom for drainage. When we aerify, what we are looking for is to try to create more space, airspace within this lower profile so that roots can develop and become deeper and allow more penetration and nutrient uptake.
If organic matter becomes too thick and matted, it acts like a sponge and holds water at the surface after a rain or irrigation, instead of allowing the water to penetrate through and provide critical water to the roots. Excessive organic matter also inhibits root growth by taking up available space needed for oxygen in the soil required for healthy roots and can encourage disease that can lead to turf failure. Furthermore, and more important to you as the golfer, excessive organic matter creates a soft surface prone to bigger, deeper ball marks, footprinting, and inconsistent playing conditions.
You can see in this profile that we have sand that is from previous aerations that has gone through. This helps create some of that column and allows water to penetrate through. We have it over here, through here, and even one that goes all the way down. So some years we'll take smaller samples or smaller cores that will only go to here, and others that will go all the way into this clay structure to make sure we get water to penetrate all the way through and allow for drainage. No matter if we use a small tine that pulls the core or use a solid tine that actually doesn't pull but just creates the hole, still is meant to create airspace and allow water flow and oxygen and gas exchanges for the plant.
Our process for aeration first begins with running a tractor and large aerifier over the green. Operating at a speed of approximately a half a mile per hour, the process will take about 6 hours to complete 9 holes. This process, as you can see, punches the holes in the green with an alternating arm action to create the specific spacing we are looking for, and then ejects the material from the tine as it pulls out the core of soil and turf. The variation of tine size and spacing are determined by the long-term goal for the season. In the spring, we are trying to encourage more root mass, thus creating more open airspace in the soil, and in the fall, we are creating bigger and deeper holes to create larger columns for sand and drainage through the winter months to allow for good drainage. Following the tractor and aerifier is our core harvester machine that uses a paddle and conveyor belt system to pick up the cores off the surface and puts them into the back of a utility vehicle to be dumped at designated locations around the course. We typically use 2 core harvesters at a time to keep up with the aerifier. Once the cores have been cleaned off the surface with the harvesters and a little shovel work done for detail cleaning, we then top dress the greens with sand. This sand applied has specific particle sizes that we feel best fit our greens mix that exists below the surface to help ensure proper drainage and airspace availability. To apply the sand, we use a spinner top dresser that distributes the sand uniformly across the greens. Each green will receive approximately 2.5 yards of sand. This is enough sand to fill the holes we have created, along with settling some into the turf canopy to smooth out any inconsistencies and firm up the surface. We initially drag the greens slowly with a steel mat that pulls the sand along in small squares and helps drop the sand particles into the open holes. This takes a couple of times to go over to distribute the sand enough to fill the holes. In some cases, the holes have been covered or bridged by wet soil or tires smashing the soil down across the holes with the machines prior to top dressing, so not all the holes get filled, and this becomes more evident after multiple irrigation cycles have pushed the soil and sand down. After the steel mat dragging is complete, we do a final clean of the green with our brushing technique. This machine is called the sweep and fill. The brushes run along in a circular bullseye pattern that works the excess sand outward and off to the edge of the green. As it is brushing and flicking the sand around on the green, any remaining sand left that has not fallen into the open low areas and into the canopy are then pushed off the green, leaving a nice clean surface. This process has made a huge impact on aeration recovery since it removes any excess sand and allows the turf to breathe and heal quicker, as well as allowing us to get a mower on sooner so that we can get them cleaned up and ready for play a few days later. The final step with aeration is fertilizing and watering. We typically use 2 and sometimes 3 different fertilizers immediately after aeration, depending on the nutrient requirements of each area. We fertilize the greens with a walk-behind rotary spreader that holds approximately 60 pounds of fertilizer at a time. Once the fertilizer is applied, we start the first irrigation cycle. The first cycle will run for 15 minutes, which will break down the fertilizer, help settle the sand into the canopy, and finally relieve some of the stress that the plants have endured during the entire process. After the first cycle has run, we wait approximately another 20 minutes and run a second cycle, 8 to 10 minutes. This ensures moisture has been pushed through the soil profile and getting the much needed water to the roots so it can begin the plant healing process. We won't mow the greens for 2 to 3 days following aeration to allow it time to recover from the stress we have put on the plant. It will typically take anywhere from 14 to 21 days, depending on weather conditions, to heal and provide a smooth surface again. So as you can see, the process is very involved, takes some time to complete, and of course creates a short-lived disruption to the surface area. But in the end, it is a highly beneficial program that keeps the greens healthy and playing well throughout the golfing season.